Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome back. I'm Jeannie and this is a mani of a lot of things I would have done differently, but I still love the way it turned out regardless. So I'm going to be using some of the newest colors from Vivid Glam Co. This is from her Mother Goose collection. So I've got I'm a Little Teapot and London Bridge is Falling Down. And I mean, how cute is this theme? As soon as she released this collection or announced this collection, I ran to the website and it wasn't available yet. It was going to be a couple hours till she released it. So I set an alarm and I grabbed them immediately because all of the colors in this collection are just so beautiful and I couldn't help myself, especially with the Mother Goose theme to it. So all of them kind of have like the Mother Goose nursery rhyme type titles. So I'm also going to be using Milkmaid and Hap-Happiest season in this mani as well. And Milkmaid is one of my regrets, but I'll get to that once I get to the colors. And of course, I'll be using my Vivid Glam Co dip liquids, which are some of my favorites to use. And as always, if there's anything you're interested in at Vivid Glam Co, you can always use my ambassador code, Jeannie10, to save 10% off your orders. But let's go ahead and get into this mani, and I will explain as I get to it what I would have done differently. I'm going to be starting with I'm a Little Teapot, which if you know me, you know I am obsessed with this. So this is a solid lavender color, and it is just so beautiful. So this is the only solid I'm going to use, and I say only solid I'm going to use because it's the only nails that are going to stay solid. So I'm going to have two accent nails that are going to be my middle and ring finger, so they're going to have glitters and solids. But I'm a Little Teapot I'm going to leave as is because they're just beautiful as is because I love this color. So I actually do my normal dipping process. It's going to be 2 dips of I'm a Little Teapot, capping in clear, activating, and then going on to my accent nails. So I'm going to do 2 layers of that on my index, pinky, and thumb, but I'm only going to show you one because I don't want to be too repetitive. And if you notice a change in my voice, apologies for how it sounds. I'm just getting over a little bit of a cold. So I mentioned in my last video, I spent the last 2 weeks in a row in the office. So I had 2 programs that graduated each week. So everyone was either in North Carolina or they traveled to North Carolina to be in person for their graduations. So I'm not used to being around that many people for so long. So I think I caught a little bit of a cold. And the funny thing is, like, all the associates really that came through, so in total we had about 25, 26 on site. All of them were fine, but everyone on my program team all got sick. So we all spent not Labor Day, Memorial Day weekend sick with a cold. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, luckily for me, it was very mild, but I do sound a little bit stuffy, so excuse my voice, but I did want to get this video up to stay on schedule. I've mentioned before I like to keep 2 separate jars of clear, one for my solids, one for my glitters. So these are both from Vivid Glam Co. The big jar is for my solids and the little jar is from her old branding. So it used to be Vivid Dip. So I just use that for my glitter clear, and then whenever I need a refill, I just pour some of my bigger jar into the smaller jar. So because I'm a Little Teapot is just a solid, I'm going to use my big jar of solid clear. So I'm just going to apply a thin, even layer of dip base to my entire nail. Dip in the clear. I'll do that for my index, pinky, and thumb. And then once that's fully dry, I'm going to scrub them off with a stiff scrub brush just to get off any of that excess clear. And then I will go ahead and activate, and then we'll be ready to get into my accent nails. getting into my accent nail, my plan was to do kind of like a wave of color, which I'm using Hap-Happiest Season for, and then the rest of my nail would be the white, which is what I'm using Milkmaid for. So I'm taking my eyeshadow brush and I'm using Tap Ombre Method, and this is the e.l.f. smudge brush, so it's a little bit thinner, a little more compact, and I'm just tapping it onto my nail at like kind of across my nail diagonally to make kind of that wavy look. So I'm not going for like any straight lines or anything like that. I just want it to look kind of random. And then I flip my finger upside down to tap downwards. I don't want to tap to the side or anything to get more of that color on the dip base. And then I pour over my Milkmaid to absorb the rest of the dip base onto the nail. And so this is kind of where I have my first regret of, I used Milkmaid, which is Vivid Glam Co's milky white color, but I feel like I should have used a solid white color instead, because in the end, I feel like you couldn't really tell the difference between Hap-Happiest Season and Milkmaid because they kind of blended into each other too much, and I really wanted the Hap-Happiest Season to stand out more, but because I used a milky white, it kind of blended rather than standing out. So I would have changed it, but that's okay. I still love the way it turned out. So I'm doing the same thing for my ring finger as well. I've got the dip base on. I'm using my eyeshadow brush to tap on Hap-Happiest Season diagonally across my nail in kind of a wave. And then I'm dipping my finger in the Milkmaid to absorb the rest of that dip base. So the rest of my nail will be Milkmaid. And you can see here, you can see the difference here, but once I get into the getting on the glitter, capping clear, activating, top coat, all that, you can't see the difference at all unless you look super close. So getting into my second layer, it's going to be the same process. So I'm going to apply a thin, even layer of dip base to my entire nail, and then I will take my eyeshadow brush and around the same area that I did my first layer for Hap-Happiest Season, I'm going to try to tap in that around the same area. It doesn't have to be exact, but I'd like it to be a little more opaque in color. So I'm kind of shooting for where it was originally. So I'll do that. I'll tap in the color, flip my hand upside down, tap down to get the powder off, but not into the wet dip base. And then I will dip into Milkmaid to get the white on the rest of my nail. And I go ahead and do my ring finger off camera because it's a little repetitive, but I just wanted to show you what I did for my second layer. And so now I want to get into my glitter. So I'm using London Bridges Falling Down, and my goal is to ombre that glitter onto where my Hap-Happiest Season is. So I was hoping to have like that pop of pink and then a little bit of glitter mixed in, but really in the end it just looks like a glitter wave kind of across my nail, which is okay. I still love the way it turned out, but you know, things I would have done differently, but I didn't. So I'm applying a full even layer of dip base to my entire nail again because I want it to be even. I don't want like a ridge where I have the glitter and not the rest of my nail. So I'm taking the eyeshadow brush once again and I'm doing a tap ombre method. So I'm tapping on the glitter where I have that pink. I'm concentrating where I have that pink, and it went way too far past the line. So I'm just using my cuticle cleanup tool, and I'm just, while the dip base is still wet, pushing those glitters a little bit closer together because I don't want it to go too far outside where I have the pink. So I'm just doing a little bit of cleanup while I can, while the dip base is still wet. And then here's another regret, is I decided, oh, for the rest of the dip base, I'm just going to pour over Milkmaid, but I shouldn't have done that because there was still some wet base in where I had the pink. So it kind of covered up the glitters, it covered up the pink a little bit more, and I had regrets over that. Like, I just shouldn't have done that. I should have just tap ombre the Milkmaid where there wasn't the pink, where there wasn't the glitter, but regardless. So I wanted a little more of the chunky glitters from London Bridges Falling Down, so I applied dip base only to the area where I wanted the glitter, and now I'm just doing a little bit of placement to place some of those larger glitters. And then once I placed the larger glitters, because I had accidentally covered up some of the finer glitters with Milkmaid because I poured it over, which I shouldn't have done, I go ahead and use my eyeshadow brush again and do a little bit of a tap ombre to get some of those finer glitters incorporated as well. And I'll do the same thing for my ring finger. I went ahead and finished up off camera, and here's how I'm looking after I finished filing and buffing, which took minimal effort because these dips applied so effortlessly. So now I'm ready to get into my absolute favorite part, which is dip top coat. So in order for my dip top coat to cure and harden, I need a final layer of activator. So I'm going to apply a thin, even layer of activator to all my nails, and then I'm going to wait a full 2 minutes for it to dry before I get into the top coat. So now that the 2 minutes have passed, I'm going to be using my Vivid Glam Co dip top coat, which is super shiny, one of my favorites to use. So for my first layer, I'm going to apply the top coat in 2 to 3 really quick swipes on each nail. You don't want to linger the brush. If there's any excess activator on your nail, it could harden your brush. It could contaminate your whole bottle of dip top coat. So before I return the brush to the bottle for more top coat, I'm wiping it on this lint-free wipe, and then I will go in and then get more of that dip top coat and apply to the rest of my nail. So I'm going to do this for all 5 fingers, and by the time I'm done with my 5th finger, I'll be ready to go in with my second layer. And for my second layer, this is when I can take my time, make sure my nail is fully covered, make sure I'm capping my free edge, and then it'll dry within 1 to 2 minutes. It's a pretty quick drying dip top coat. As always, I'm going to finish off my mani by rehydrating my cuticles, and I'm using Scales of a Mermaid Cuticle Balm in the scent Wildflower, and I have been obsessed with this scent lately. Like, initially I had bought a rollerball pen of this scent just to try it out, and I loved it so much I went back and I bought this cuticle balm, I bought the soap sugar scrub, and I also bought a 1 ounce dropper bottle of it because I never want to run out of this scent. But especially love these little cuticle balms because they're easy for travel and they absorb in so quickly. And here we are with the finished look. What do you think? I'm not mad at it, but do you see what I mean when I say like the Hap-Happiest season doesn't really stand out as much? Like, I feel like if I had used a more opaque white, it would have looked better, especially since I had a pink shimmer builder gel underneath. I feel like that also shows through a little bit on the milky white, but still happy with the way it turned out because you never know. You know, I tried something. I know moving forward, if I want to try it again, what I need to do differently. And, you know, not everything is perfect. Not everything that I start out doing ends up happening. So I wanted to share this with you anyway, just to show that, you know, sometimes your manis take a different turn and that's okay. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up. It lets me know to continue creating content like this. And it also helps YouTube recommend me to others, which helps grow my channel. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I upload content every Monday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.